Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're sort of sifting through a really fascinating collection of everyday moments, considerations you've shared.
Yeah, quite a mix.
We've got stuff ranging from that big choice, village versus city life, the decision about getting a pet.
Which is always a big one.
Totally. And also how friends support each other through something tough, like a breakup.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, some really practical advice on, boosting your English speaking skills.
Right. So the mission for listeners is really just to pull out some useful insights, but maybe some surprising bits from all this.
Exactly, without it feeling like, just too much information thrown at you.
Yeah, looking at these slices of life and seeing what's underneath, what values are driving these choices, these interactions.
Okay, let's jump in then. First up, that age-old question, right? Do you like village or city life? That kicked off one discussion.
And one person was straight away like, village, for the peace, the nature.
Pretty clear preference there.
Yeah, but the second person, they'd lived in both. So they were more about weighing the pros and cons.
Advantages and disadvantages, as they put it.
Exactly. Which immediately signals, a more balanced look.
For sure. And when they talked village advantages, it was all about community, wasn't it? Friendlier people, helping each other out.
That real neighborly support system, that closeness.
It paints a picture of a strong social fabric.
It does. And maybe that meets a sort of fundamental human need for belonging. That might be harder to find in a big city.
No, that makes sense. But they also pointed out the flip side for villages.
The facilities, less advanced often. That's a practical thing.
Yeah, a crucial point for many.
Yeah.
Then switching to the city, the upsides were pretty clear.
Opportunities, right? Education, jobs, entertainment, loads of options.
And also that diversity aspect, meeting different people, different cultures.
Which broadens your perspective, like they said. It's not just about food, it's about different ways of thinking.
Definitely enriching. But cities have their own issues too, obviously.
Oh, yeah. Crowding, pollution, those came up.
Interestingly, the point about people being more independent in cities, relying on themselves more.
Right. A real contrast to that village idea of mutual support.
So does that city independence maybe build a different kind of resilience, self-reliance?
Possibly, but maybe at the cost of that immediate community safety net. It's a trade-off.
It really seems to boil down to priorities then.
Yeah.
Quiet and simple versus, fast-paced and dynamic.
Yeah, what fits your lifestyle, what you value most day to day.
And I like their final thought, maybe having a balance is good. Experiencing both, if possible.
Yeah, that idea of exploring different ways to live, it feels very human.
Okay, so building on that, finding what fits. The next conversation was about getting a pet.
Ah, yes, starting with wanting a dog. Very common.
But Anna, she had some real hesitations, especially indoor pets.
Yeah, she laid out some very practical concerns, the work involved, the responsibility.
Allergies, health issues, stuff like that.
And let's be honest, the mess. Potential damage, too. Anyone with a pet knows that feeling.
Oh, absolutely. But then the counter was, with proper training and care.
You can manage those things, which highlights how much being a responsible owner matters, doesn't it?
Definitely. It's a real commitment, not just wanting the fun parts.
And the focus was specifically a dog, wasn't it? Because of that loyalty, the affection.
Those classic dog traits.
Yeah. But Anna brought up the demands. Dogs need a lot of attention, exercise.
They're not like getting a goldfish, is it? Different levels of commitment entirely.
Good point. And the other person sort of reframed that, didn't they? Saying, well, maybe having a dog motivates you to be more active.
Especially if your schedule's flexible. Turn a challenge into a benefit. Kind of.
Interesting take.
But the final advice was just so sensible. Do your research. Think it all through first.
Absolutely. It's a big decision. Affects you and the animal.
Okay, shifting gears a bit now. The next one was more emotional. Supporting a friend after a breakup.
Right. And a tough one because of cheating.
Yeah. And you could really feel the rawness of the emotions described. Feeling down, disbelief.
I can't believe it. That sense of being totally lost. I don't even know what to do. Just awful.
It really highlights how vital that friend's support is in that moment.
Totally. And the advice wasn't about quick fixes, was it? It was about offering hope, a bit of a lifeline.
Things like, you'll get through this.
And that really important one, you deserve someone who treats you right, someone who doesn't cheat, affirming their worth.
So crucial when you feel betrayed. And then came the more sort of practical steps.
Yeah, take time for yourself, do things you enjoy.
Focus on hobbies, see friends, family, the basics of self-care, really.
Mm-hmm. Steps in that healing process.
And those phrases, time heals all wounds, you'll find someone else. They might sound like cliches.
Maybe. But there's a reason they stick around, you know? When you're in that much pain, hearing them can offer perspective.
Like a reminder that this feeling isn't forever.
Exactly. A little glimmer of hope. It's about validating the pain, but also pointing towards a future.
Like a verbal anchor when you feel adrift. Just hearing it helps.
Precisely. Reminding them of their value, especially after something that hits your self-esteem so hard.
Right. Okay, our final segment was more skills-focused. Improving English speaking.
Yeah, and it started with a really fundamental point. You need the words. Vocabulary is key for fluency.
Such a basic truth, but easily forgotten. Can't say much without the building blocks.
Exactly. Then they mentioned some general strategies like talking to yourself in English.
Which sounds a bit odd, maybe.
Yeah, but it's low-pressure practice. And also looking for chances to actually chat with people.
Both good ways to build comfort, fluency. Talking to yourself helps you think in English. Conversations give you that real-world practice, even if it's scary at first.
But the speaker really stressed the most powerful method.
Just using your speaking skills, actually talking.
Which sounds obvious, but it's often the biggest hurdle, isn't it? That fear of mistakes.
Definitely. And they suggested a specific technique. Recording yourself.
Acknowledging it feels weird at first. Hearing your own voice.
Yeah, especially in another language. A bit cringy sometimes.
Yeah. Huh, maybe. But they framed it as a really powerful tool for a couple of reasons.
One was confidence, right?
Yeah.
You might listen back and think, hey, I sound better than I thought.
Exactly. Our inner critic is usually way too harsh. Hearing proof of progress is super motivating. Quiets the self-doubt.
And the other benefit was pronunciation. Really feeling the words in your mouth.
Yeah, I loved that analogy they used. Speaking a new language is like a physical workout for your mouth.
You need to practice to build that muscle memory, improve articulation.
It's a great way to think about it. Demystifies it, makes it about practice, like any skill.
So as we wrap this up, it's kind of amazing looking back at the range we covered. Big life choices like where to live.
The responsibility and joy of pets.
Getting through tough emotional times.
And even, practical learning tips.
Yeah. And what seems to connect them all is, well, they're all about fundamental human experiences, aren't they?
Our need for connection, finding happiness, being resilient, wanting to learn and grow.
Which brings us to our final thought for you, the listener. Thinking about all these different situations, this advice, what core values or, strategies really stand out for you? For your own life, your own learning?
What did these glimpses spark in your own thinking? It's about taking these little nuggets, these insights.
And just seeing how they might, inform your own path forward, something to mull over.